You are now tuning in to the COR Focus Podcast.
Welcome back to the COR Focus Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me today, we have Joshua and Sharon. All right, so y'all seen the ladies, y'all heard from the ladies, and now it's the guys' turn. So we taking over this podcast today, and we're just here, to chop it up, and so I'm ready to get to it. How y'all feeling?
Feeling good, man.
Good. All right, so just to jump right into it, it's just you're seeing a lot of media, a lot of stuff in the media, recent years, just portraying a whole types of people, but specifically for black men. How do y'all feel about the way black men, young black men, boys, are portrayed in the media?
Well, I really feel like the media's captured people in a wrong way, like especially rappers and like social media influencers. I feel like they've made that seem like the typical lifestyle, and since they did that, young black males, the younger generation, like growing up, me specifically, I looked towards the rappers and seen that lifestyle and made me want to do that when I get older, want to be like them,
Right.
And I feel like that just, it traps the younger generation to where they don't see a different future than what they see that. They only see that as a reality. Mm-hmm. But really, the rappers only showing what they want to show. They're not showing like the whole lifestyle. Right. They only show what they can so they get views and the money, and that's really how I feel about that, though.
Okay. So what about you, Sharon?
I feel the same way. I mean, I feel we're a lot of us, we're not being seen the way that we should be seen. We're we're being raised as like, rapping or hooping, like you're saying. Like the first thing you thought about was rappers when you say black men, and the first thing we should think about is just black men. I mean, young men like you were in school, young men who just trying to do something positive, who's trying to get out of or any kind of a bad situation they're in or not, or just trying to be better just because they want to be equal to and looked up the same way. I feel like we don't have as many shades of gray as everyone else does, as far as how we're portrayed in the media and how we're portrayed to other people. We're only seen as, black men or like aggressive men or tough or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say, instead of just
stereotype.
We all just boil down to our stereotypes half the time, and it's a shame that we are.
Yeah, I feel like the culture. I feel like the culture is so like impacted by like you said, rappers or whatnot. Hip hop is like one of the biggest influences in society today. Right. Growing up in Orange County, you see it. There's other non-black people who are, making TikToks out of rap lyrics and whatnot, and they expect that. Like for me, example, I have people expect me to be okay with them saying, that like things like the N-word and stuff, and it's just all that. And then also with hip hop, there's a big, I want to say trend. I want to say if it's a trend. It's just like drugs and smoking, all that stuff, alcohol. That's just been normalized, right. And then you could just see it going down. You can see younger kids. I have a friend whose little brother, he started doing stuff like that. I was like, he's 13. Like, let the kid be a kid. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like part of that just trickles down, and so, and that's just the biggest thing for me. Is just like many people expect if you're not like this, then you must be whitewashed, and so. And to me, it's like, you're good. To me, it's just like, so I have to have these bad traits to be seen to be validated as a black person. And if I don't follow that way, I'm whitewashed now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that also just the fact that, you're talking about, rap portrays this and, people are using drugs more and stuff like that. I don't know, it feels like, just how women have a double standard with certain, like with what they wear or what they say or whatever. Everyone has a double standard with certain things. It feels like it's a lot easier for us to where if we have any kind of drug in our system, as a rapper, it's like, oh, of course, that's what they do. They're ignorant, whatever. But being a rock star, it's whatever. And if if a certain man, another man comes and says, yeah, I was doing, ecstasy and cocaine, whatever they were doing. Oh, that was just college. That's just what we do. You know what it's like. Right. And then a black man goes, oh yeah, I might have smoked some weed back in high school or something like that. It's like, oh, well, what was he doing? Why was he smoking weed in high school? So it's even with, not saying anyone should be doing any drugs or anything like that, but it's a lot harder for young black men to make the same kind of mistakes that it is for other races to make. And I think maybe we should try to tell each other, try to help each other realize, hey, some things aren't equal, and like we need to change these things, and we need to just change our perception of each other and just ourselves, because like you said, coming down to the media, we only are what we are seen to be. Do
you think society, like, they judge us more, like, in a different way than they judge other people, like, of different races? Just because, like, we're black males and they picture us a certain way already, so they can already just picture every black male as that stereotype instead of looking at not what they look like, how they dress, but how they're getting to know them and how they actually act. It's looking at their personality instead of looking at the outside appearance. I feel like that's a big way that society views black males since the beginning for a long time.
Right.
How do you guys deal with that? Being that you're both in college right now, you're both in school. How do you deal with being prejudged? I know how I felt when I was in college, when I was in high school, but that was 10, 15 years ago, and it's not a long time, but it is a long time. So what are you guys doing now? Because, I mean, you guys' lives are more on the internet than my life was, or our parents' lives were. So, what do you how are you doing with it? Are there any new problems?
Yeah. For me, I think I kind of already expect to be prejudged. Not everyone's going to think of you as a certain way. Everyone thinks differently. But what I tend to do, I don't know. I just try to stay true to myself. You know what I mean? I don't. I'm a very what's the word? Confrontational, very confrontational, in a good way. I'm very nice to people. I try to share positive vibes back, kind of be upbringing. So to show who I am. I always show my personality when I meet somebody new. That's just always who I've been. And so, it's a dangerous world where people live with these prejudgments about people. But for me, I just try to say the best me that I can be. I was raised to be respectful. I was raised with values and whatnot. So that's kind of how I go along throughout school and whatnot.
Say if a professor may say a racist remark to me, I wouldn't come off of it as come out and rude, say something back rude, because that's just making them win. I'm letting them win.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'd rather. See, I was to defeat evil with good. So I would show kindness, like you said, to show my character. I wouldn't betray the character that they think I am. I'll bring back kindness to them and show them that.
Shock them.
Yeah, I'm not the person that you think I am. And once you get to know me, you will see that instead of just looking at how I look.
Exactly. That's my mom used to always tell me that the bullies would win if they get a reaction out of you.
Kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
And like you said about the being confrontational, I mean, that's not bad to be confrontational as long as you're respectful about it. And
right.
I mean, knowing both of you guys are just, very respectful, and confrontation is not a bad thing. When you say, why are you judging me? Why are you looking at me like this? Why do you think this about me? How many black people have you met? How many people from Orange County have you met? How many whatever have you met so that you have just prejudged me?
Right.
That's not being horrible, being nasty, being mean. It's okay to be confrontational if you're having them confront something within themselves and you're confronting something within yourself.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it all boils down to just talking to somebody. It's so hard to talk to somebody, and it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Because we all want to we have our own word out there and be louder than everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard.
being confrontational ain't bad. Talking, Yeah.
So, moving along, growing up, we're both coming out of high school. We're still new to college. Growing up, I know you experienced college a little earlier in life. You were a little seasoned, but just how did you guys deal with with the peer pressure and whatnot, and falling into the conforming with society? I would say
the trap.
Yeah, falling in the trap.
Well, me personally, growing up, transitioning to high school, it's a lot different from middle school to high school. Your friends start behaving a different way. They start making new friends and changing, and so really got to make that decision: am I going to go and change with them, or am I going to stay true to who I am?
Right.
Or am I just going to let them peer pressure me into doing something that I've never done before? And it's also that part in your mind, like, okay, I never tried this before, so you're curious of how it would react, like how, and you've seen other people like social media, stuff like that, people do these certain things.
Yeah.
So you wonder, okay, let me try this, or you fight the temptation.
Right.
Me personally, I did fall into the ways of the world. I fell into the trap of society, and that's really where I had to try to find myself, really, because I lost myself along the way, especially in high school. For years, I lost myself, really falling to that peer pressure, and my cousins and my family, my friends, everybody around me, they're doing certain things, and I fell for it.
Yeah. But
it's not, the problem is not falling for it. The problem is falling for it and staying stuck in that way, And your environment makes a huge difference. Like people you hang around. So say if you smoke weed, or you have a problem smoking weed and you quit, hanging around people that do it is just gonna draw you back into that wanting to do it. That temptation is gonna come even more.
Yeah.
So you have to separate yourself with people who are, I would say I would hang around people who are smarter than me. I don't want to be the dumbest person in the room. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
Right.
I want to hang around people who are more intellectual than me, so I can learn more. I don't want to be around people who are stuck doing the same thing that they've been doing for years. They haven't progressed. I look at life as a marathon. Keep on moving. I want to keep progressing. Each year, I want to be better than who I was in the past. I don't want to stay stuck in my past life, because we have to elevate.
Yeah.
We don't want to stay stuck in our old ways.
Yeah.
It's about prospering and growing with our faith in God, and that's who we really need to look up to when that temptations come, when that peer pressure comes. We need to stop focusing on the problems of the world, because in this world there's so many problems going on. Like, this world is getting more and more evil, But if we focus on God instead of focusing on the temptations, don't focus on everything else that's going around. We focus on our Lord and our Savior, who will get us out of the depths,
Right.
And when we feel like there's no way out. See, me, I felt like there was no way out for me. I was so far gone into smoking weed and doing these things that I feel like I couldn't see how to get out. And I feel like that's where a lot of people are right now. They don't know, they can't see the end of the tunnel. And so they feel that they're lost, they're stuck, and they're sunken. But I just want you to know that Jesus Christ will save you from that. He will get you out of anything that you're going through. You can be at your lowest time in your life, and that's when you look up to him. That's when you call out his name. He doesn't want you to run from him when you sin. He wants you to draw near to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's really just the biggest thing that I want you to take away from, not, if you do fall, just don't stay stuck, But that's pretty much it for that.
And you 20 years old?
19.
19 years old? Yeah. See that?
Man, with the word of wisdom.
Yeah,
right there.
that's when you want to, that's the time to learn it. I'm telling you what, I didn't learn it 19 years old, man, to be my own man. It's tough. Like, I couldn't stand hearing my parents tell me you are who you hang with, and you're not always who you're hanging with. People can change. You can change people around you. But yeah, if you're stuck doing the same old thing over and over and over and talking about, oh, I want to change, I want to do this, I want to do that, do something about it, and falling into peer pressure, it's so easy because people peer. We're, humans naturally are lazy, so we're just going to do what's easier. And if everyone's doing this, why not just do it? I don't stick out. I don't have to change. I don't have to go against the tide, nothing like that. But once you realize, oh, okay, I can go against the tide, and it's not as bad as I thought to I don't know, find four 4 or 5 more people to hang out with who do this, who, you know, wasn't doing what I was doing, you know, and oh yeah, I spent, you know, 5-6 years, 5-6 months, 5-6 weeks, whatever, hanging out with this person doing the wrong thing.
Right.
And I'm just into that habit, you know. It's so easy to get into a habit and so hard to get out of a habit that really I would think that just the hardest thing about, the most positive advice for not falling into peer pressure is just trying to make a new habit, you know. Always try to make new habits. And like you're saying, you know, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. That's great, you know. Always try to learn and always try to build yourself up, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, life shouldn't school shouldn't stop just because you graduated. You know, you should always be learning, you should always be moving, always be growing. Read a new book, talk to a new person, do whatever you got to do. But yeah, expound your horizons, you know, and it'll be so much easier not to fall in with the crowd because you have too many crowds to fall into, you know.
Man, I just enjoy meeting new people because you just hear new stories and hear their personal stories and where they came from. Like when I met you and you opened up to me, I was just like, wow, like you overcame, bro. You overcame, and that's just
all
powerful.
Through Jesus, man. Not through me, but through Jesus. All glory be to God, you know?
Yeah, that's right. So that's awesome. But so moving forward, to what extent have recent events this past year or so impacted your life, whatever it may be? It could be through the internet, what you've seen on the internet, what something happened to you personally, something you know of. What has impacted you to make you who you are today?
Well, I feel like when COVID-19 happened, in quarantine, everybody really they found themselves because we're more isolated. Before we're normal life, you know, living everyday life, not a care in the world. But then COVID-19 came out of nowhere, it just hit, and then government isolated everybody where we had the quarantines for a long time, and I feel like that's when a lot of people truly found themselves just like myself, because I had to actually move back to Atlanta, Georgia, where I'm from, after high school when COVID happened, and a lot of different events happened, you know, because I moved on my own. I had my own house, you know, and so that's when I started to really find the true ways of life and really adulthood, trying to manhood, you know, because I had to live my own, provide for myself, you know, and able to make my own decisions.
Right.
And I feel like that's when my eyes really opened up, you know, from different events, really, you know, moving back, a couple of childhood friends passed away, you know, and that just helped me see how short life is and how you can't keep going down the same route. You know, you gotta eventually you gotta change, or you're only gonna end up one way, you know. And that's I thank God that He opened my eyes up and allowed different things to happen, so we can really truly open our eyes back up instead of staying blind to the world and staying stuck in where we used to be.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree with with COVID, learning who you are. That definitely that was different. Like this past year or so, you know, learning about yourself, because you know, you say you want to do all these things, or you don't think about the things that you never got to think about because you never had the downtime. You know, you're always worried about you know, getting out there. But when the whole world stops, yeah, it tells you some things about yourself. And I think it helped me personally. Like it definitely helped some people fall into temptation and just slide down, unfortunately. But I think a lot of people were able to come back from this and learn that, all right, I'm not as weak as I thought I was, or I can do this, or it's not as hard to grow as I thought it would be, or I'm not as alone as I thought I was. You know, I think that while I did, you know, struggle with a lot of things, like with the pandemic, it allowed me to see that I can put my mind to some things and do certain things. Also, just seeing things like in the news, George Floyd, stuff like that, you know, Breonna Taylor, every single hashtag that we got, you know, we got a lot of hashtags as well, and that showed me that, you know, the world world still has a lot of things to change, you know, and it helped me see and focus on what I wanted to change and who I wanted to change, and talk to and try to touch, and it helped me kind of turn my career path a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Certain things can help you.
Do you think it helped you focus on yourself more instead of focusing on the things of this world? But now you really truly had time to develop yourself mentally and think about the things, think about your life and where you want to go down.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if it's just from age or, like I said, sitting down and having time to just think. But yeah, man, I don't care about as many things as I thought I did. Like, I mean, it'd be dope to drive a Maserati, but I'm not worried about being 50 and getting a Maserati. I'm so content being happy, seeing Alyssa happy, seeing myself being happy, being able to just, I don't know, fellowship and be happy with my family, you know? So yeah, certain things have changed because my priorities have, my expectations have lowered.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you guys, you know, what about you guys for school, life, what?
I think with all COVID-19 and all that, a lot of things impacted my life. You know, with my grandparents getting sick, my parents moving back home, it just that alone just reminded me of the importance of family and love. And I've spent this past year, I've spent so much more time that I've had in the past 18 years of my life, spending time with my family. You know, just this past summer, I even got to meet other family members from my mom's side I've never met before in my life, and so just that alone was just crazy in itself. And you know, I just think that's so important as a young black man, understanding the importance of family and the importance of love. You know what I mean? You know, there's a lot of families out there, a lot of black families out there who grow up without a father, without a father figure in their life, and I'm just so appreciative that I have my father, I have my grandfather, I have men in my family that I can look up to and appreciate, and so just all of it, you know, I just take it for a grain of salt. You know what I mean? That's been like one of my number one things, just family. You know, I got to spend time with your family this past summer. And, you know, you guys are so tight knit. You know, so it's just family all over, and just. Even being out here alone, I have my brother here with me, but I even have my extended family here in California while my parents are away who still support me. So this past year, with that, in that aspect, that's just really, it just really showed me how much I appreciate family and the values that we have. But as far as what goes on in the media, what we were talking about portraying, with how black men are portrayed in the media, like I said earlier, it's just like I stay true to myself. I work to be myself. You know, for the longest time, I've feared to end up like that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't say feared, but I knew I didn't want to end up like that. I knew I wanted to have some type of purpose in my life. Not sure what yet, but I just know I want to. You know, eventually make enough money to start a family and pass on these values that my parents have passed on. You know, be a role model in my community, be an example, be a significant figure in my community. And I think about it. I get that from my grandfather. You know, he grew up in Dayton, Ohio. But he grew his family in Dayton, Ohio. You know, went to TSU, met my grandmother. Him and his brothers moved to Ohio, you know, started their families and whatnot, and it's just all that together. And they've grown such a huge family, such a tight knit family. They've impacted the community in so many ways. It's funny because my grandfather actually just got recognized by the city of Dayton this past week. So that just shows how it's in our blood. You know what I mean? Which is incredible. So. That's really how I've really maintained myself throughout this craziness.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
You talking about your grandfather and just black men in general, and what you aspire to be. You guys being just now on the cusp of adulthood. I mean, you're already young men, but being alone. You know, because I remember the first time Mom couldn't tell me to get back in the room. You know, she couldn't tell me what to do. She couldn't tell me to go home. I was on my own. She couldn't tell me to get up to go to school. You know, was it what you guys expected it to be? And like, I don't know, what were you expecting, and what do you plan on doing? I don't know. Just.
Well, I'd say from my experience, when I did live by myself for probably about 6 months, it is a lot of freedom. You know, you had the freedom to decide what you want to do, and that's when it's time to make a choice. You either make a choice where you go down a certain path where 18 years old, crib to yourself, only thing that was on my mind was, let me bring some girls over, or let me throw a party, or, let me just smoke. That's all I was thinking about. But I realized with freedom comes responsibility. And at such a delicate age, I didn't really see the responsibility. I wasn't paying attention I wasn't focusing on that.
Right.
I was more focused on having fun or doing this. But we gotta realize that there's always consequences for everything that we do,
Yeah.
And when we live a wild life like that, there's always gonna be consequences. You just don't pay attention to it because you're not focused on it.
Yeah.
And that's where God's really been giving me the word of focus. We gotta put our focus towards different things that's gonna help us grow and prosper. That's not gonna have us have setbacks in life.
Invest.
Yeah.
Always invest in your future.
Exactly, and you gotta realize life is too precious, man. Life is too short to be focused on the wrong thing, and the devil's out there trying to get you to fall tempted to these distractions. There's so many distractions in this world. Social media is a huge distraction because it makes us look at other people's lives, man, and compare our lives to their life,
A snapshot, too, not
Exactly.
even their whole life.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's not even their whole life. They try to flex and make people jealous to feel appreciated so they can feel a certain warmth inside. But we got to realize we got to have self-worth, man. We got to have self-love. We can't expect validation from other people in order to be satisfied. We need to have that love from within ourselves, and it's coming again. Life is short, man. You can't be focused on the wrong things. And like you said, family. It's so big to really be in touch with our family and to stay in touch with them, because you never know when they take the last breath on this earth.
Yeah.
Because we gotta realize, as Christians, as believers, we're only passing through this earth. This is not our real home, and we have a home stored up for us in heaven. But while we are on this earth, we need to take time to live in the moment and stop worrying so much about who we're gonna be in the future. We need to start worrying about who we are right now and living in the moment, enjoying these times, because you never know how fast life will change. Just like when COVID-19 happened, we didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stores shut down, businesses shut down, people's lives changed. Thousands of people have died.
Yeah.
Passed on, and nobody's seen it coming.
Yeah.
And so many people were focused on the wrong things and just came out of nowhere like a big blast.
You realize your values real quick.
And then people's minds started opening up. People started to see. And that's why we get to take time to value our family, value our friends, man, value our loved ones, people who care about us. It's just really we need to put our focus on something else.
Focus. That's the word.
Focus. I'm telling you, that's the word, man. That's the word.
All right. Well, that about does it. That about wraps up our talk today, man. I appreciate y'all coming out. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It was easier than I thought. It wasn't.
It
wasn't as stressful.
Exactly. Y'all did great.
Good talking to you.
But all right. Thank you guys for watching our podcast episode. Thank you for listening to me, Josh, and Sharon chop it up a little bit. Thank you guys so much for coming on here today. Really appreciate it, guys. But make sure you catch our next episodes. We actually have 2 special episodes coming. One with mental health again, and also with campus safety. And we have a few special guests, so you guys don't want to miss out. And that'll be coming up in the next few weeks. All right.
Dope.
All right.
Any last words you guys want to say?
It was great talking to you.
Yeah.
All right.
Just intelligent young men.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Until next time, guys. See you.